everybody. Thanks for tuning into Border City Rock Talk, where you get great news, great interviews from great interviewees with sometimes a comedic touch. When I interview a comedian, no, that's not true. Anyways, I've got Crystal, Dawn of a New Day, Shawanda with me. How are you?
I'm doing great. How are you doing?
You know what? Like I say, and like it's the truth, I'm about $1,010,000 shy of being a millionaire.
That's awesome.
So, can you see my background?
Yes, I can.
Do you
Cora
recognize
Collegiate.
that?
Yeah.
Those
My
are
old high school.
your old alma mater back in the day for sure. So everybody knows, especially up here in the north, we've celebrated your career for years. You were born in Manitoulin, but you were raised in the Sioux, went to Cork Collegiate, and then you got your big break. And are you current, like I know where you are right now, but where are you currently living full time?
I live in Nashville full time. I've been there for 19 years now.
Wow. I mean, that's the Mecca. I mean, I interview the rockers, but I mean, I'm starting to like country. This is a funny story, but I dated a girl who basically, I think she brainwashed me at night. She put earphones on me and Brad Paisley and stuff, and I started to like country and Kenny Chesney, and so yeah, I'm a big fan of country music now. The interesting thing is, well, you toured with Brad and that, but you are multitasking and ambidextrous. Now you're going into the blues realm. Tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I'm getting ready to release my fourth blues album now. And yeah, we're really excited about it. We worked on it throughout the whole pandemic while we were home. Luckily, we have a studio right in our house, so we were able to just keep on working, writing, and recording. And so the album, you would think it would kind of have some depressing tones to it, considering what we were all going through. But it's actually kind of optimistic, and
Really?
but it also has little glimpses into the isolation and the loneliness. But my first single that we released, "How Bad Do You Want It,"
Yeah.
we actually wrote that song just as we were coming out of the pandemic last summer, and we were just starting to play live shows again, so we were excited, and we were hopeful about what was to come. So it's a little bit of everything on the new album.
That's great. It's called Midnight Blues. Did you have any guest appearances on that? Like who worked with you on the album and produced it?
Well, actually, my husband, Dwayne Strobel, who's also my guitar player and longtime producing partner, he actually produced the albums by himself this time. I kind of stepped away because I just want to be an artist again. I'm kind of tired of wearing so many different hats,
Yeah.
and so it was nice. So he kind of took the reins, and we wrote a lot of the songs together. And we had the musicians who we had on it. We had Mark Beckett, who, he's,
Yeah.
one of the best drummers in Nashville, plays at the Grand Ole Opry all the time.
Mhm.
And as well as Dave Rowe on bass. And Dave is, he's played with everybody from, Chrissy Hine to Yola to, CeeLo Green to Johnny Cash and Dwight Yoakam. So he's been one of our musical mentors in Nashville for 19 years, and Dwayne even for a longer time. But he has played on every single one of our albums from country to blues. And then we also had Steve Mariner, who's an amazing blues artist here in Canada. He played some harp on a couple of the songs. And then we also had the late great Harp Dog Brown do record a little bit of harp on this album as well.
That's cool. I was looking at some of your influences, like I couldn't believe it, Buddy Guy. I mean, when you were growing up at Cora Collegiate, I think, well, you weren't in the 80s group, you're in the 90s group, but what was your choice of music? Like talent-wise, obviously you got a great voice, but you probably like some rock, some pop, but your main influence is country. But was country and blues pretty close into where you wanted to take your career?
Yeah, I was singing country, but I had a lot of friends who listen to all kinds of music. So, I listened to a lot of, R&B, pop and hip hop and rock, like you said, pretty much all styles. I was learning from everybody. And but really kind of what I would call breadcrumbs leading me to the blues was actually our teacher, Mr. White. Peter White was our music teacher, and sometimes he would show us these videos, and they were called the history of rock and roll. And they had series, like there was the 50s, and then there was the 60s, and then there was the 70s, and so it would just kind of give you like this really fast rundown history. And so that really spoke to me, so that's where I started seeing a lot of clips of like Big Mama Thornton, and
Yeah,
like Little Richard, and and Muddy Waters, and that sort of thing, and James Brown, and so I got a lot of a lot of breadcrumbs were laid out for me just from watching those videos. I started to take a bigger interest in wanting to sing like those singers.
that's amazing. And you just said something that might confuse people, but I was talking to you earlier. You said here in Canada, and then earlier we referenced you. I live in Nashville. You're on the island Manitoulin. You're visiting your mom, I guess, and that's why
Yeah,
if
well,
there's any
I'm actually on, yeah, I'm on tour right now. I've been on tour since April. So
right.
we haven't been able to sleep in our own bed in like months. So we're just like, we're in between shows. We just finished playing a show in Quebec City, and then we're getting ready to play a show in Six Nations here, just nearby Toronto. So, rather than going to stay in a hotel, I opt to come and hang out on the reserve so I could visit
Why
my
not?
family and eat some
Absolutely.
home cooked meals.
Yeah.
We're so sick of road food. My daughter's like, I guess a cheeseburger again. It's
Yeah.
hard to find variety when you're on the go, go, go. Sometimes there's no time to sit down in a restaurant. So yeah, we're getting almost a little burnt out on the road here.
Well, you know what? It's refreshing. Mama's home cooking beats any restaurant, right?
Absolutely. Nothing like it.
What was I gonna? Oh, the show in Manitowoc. What was the turnout for that? Was it a great night? It must have been. Had to have been.
It was a good turnout. It was better than last year. People were still a little scared last year to attend live music shows, especially here on the island. Everybody's been extra safe here on Manitoulin. Um, and so it did a little bit better. You know, um, it kind of came together last minute. The final date wasn't finalized till just a few weeks before the show. So it didn't leave a lot of time for advertisement. But, this is a festival that it was just starting to build up and grow. And then the
Mm.
pandemic just kind of knocked the legs out from under it.
Yeah.
So Jason Manitowoc has been working really hard to keep it going. So it did, it never officially stopped. So it's still going. So hopefully it'll, build up more and get more support next year.
Right. So speaking of Nashville, it's interesting. A lot of times I interview musicians, especially the hard rockers, which is unique. It was the LA connection, but everybody's in Nashville now. That's the Mecca. So what is it like walking down the street or going to a club in Nashville? You must be bumping into legends that you've looked up to left, right, and center. Am I right?
Yeah, for sure. They don't really go out to the clubs, to be
Oh,
perfectly honest. Like most movers and shakers, they're in the studios, they're in the
okay.
writing rooms. They're cutting deals, they're getting business done. And then sometimes they do pop into clubs and
Yeah.
surprise people. So you never really know when you're gonna see somebody. Like Joe Bonamassa, he popped into Legends Corner and was over there spinning out a few songs when he was playing at the Opera Bowl. Now he lives in Nashville.
Yeah.
Greta Van Fleet, they live in Nashville and they're always
Interviewed those
bumping
boys.
around. Yeah, they're awesome. I actually cover a couple of their songs live. I do
Which
Highway.
songs from the last album or the first one?
I know I do the Flower Power song and
Okay,
the
okay.
Highway tune. Yeah, the earlier stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's
They
awesome.
were actually they were actually my daughter's first concert.
Is that right?
Yeah, we played a music festival with them out in British Columbia, the Kukum Festival. And so our daughter, she was like 2 years old. It was just the summer before the pandemic. And so I was like, we got to go stick around and watch them play because I wanted to hear those vocals live and in person. And
Yeah.
sure enough, he did not let us down. He nailed it. And our daughter, we were way far away because I didn't want her ears to get hurt from the massive speakers. But yeah, it was Greta Van Fleet was officially her first concert.
Was she was born in Nashville, I'm assuming?
She was actually born in Canada. I came when
Oh,
it was time for me getting close to
that
giving birth. I came home to Canada to give birth so I could be surrounded by my family.
that's great. The reason I'm talking about this is there's always a segue that works in my brain. Anyways, they grew up, well, we're from the Sioux, right? So down the I-75, those boys were from a small town called Frankenmuth, Michigan. So
Yeah, yeah, the Christmas town.
Christmas trees all the time, all four, all four
Yeah,
seasons. That's awesome. So I'm
for
looking at your
sure.
tour dates, and oh, by the way, before we forget, do you want to have a shout out to anybody in the Sioux here? I'm actually on Richards or St. Joe's Island, but yeah, I'm from the Sioux. It's not too far.
Awesome.
Give a shout out to
Yeah,
anybody in
yeah,
the
for
Sioux.
sure. Just hello to everybody that I used to know.
And so, speaking of that, I think some people are going to be like a little bit upset in a good way. Well, not a good way. Come on. I was looking at your tour dates, and you got Sudbury, Ancaster, No Salt Ste. Marie.
Yeah, it's
So
it's
you got to
hard.
get your agent on that because we got a couple
Yeah.
good venues
Well,
here.
the way we do it is, people contact my agent and they book me. I don't go out, like, I stay so busy just by people booking me that
Yeah.
I've never had to book my own show in many
Wow.
years. So the phone just rings constantly and our calendar just stays full with people who are just booking me constantly. And we're right now, my agent is like, he's like, I'm having to say no to so many people because, we've been going hard since April. So I actually told my agent that I wanted to slow down. Like, he was trying
Yeah.
to fill September and October right up. And I was like, no, we need to slow it down a little bit because homeschooling is starting back up with my 5 year old.
Yeah.
And like I said, we're getting a little bit burned, but we're so grateful. So, when we show up to our shows, we want to do great. We don't
Yeah.
want to show up being all tired and
Yeah.
not being at 110%.
Mhm.
But yeah, we unfortunately we haven't gotten any. We got a few calls from Sault Ste. Marie, but somebody ended up outbidding them, and it just
Yeah.
hasn't happened yet. And
It
and
is a
there's
business, right? Yes. Yes.
yeah, yeah, for sure. And it's like when you book somebody, you got to nail it down. You got to nail them down, otherwise somebody will book them up first. So
Yeah.
we had a great experience. The last time we played there was the Machine Shop, and that was a
Yes.
really cool venue. But
Yeah.
yeah, we haven't been able to get anything going again there. So yeah, maybe someday.
Maybe I'll send them a nod and I'll send them this interview and get the ball rolling and get you back in the Sioux. We'd love to see you.
For sure, it's been a while, that's for sure.
All right, well, I'll let you go, Crystal. Get back with the fam. I'd like to thank you for your time and everybody go to Crystal's website and they can get the album and everything like that. And oh, before I forget, what's the opposite of unsubscribe?
Subscribe.
Do as Crystal Shawanda says and subscribe to the channel so you get some great interviews from great interviewees just like Crystal. I'd like to thank you once again, and I hope you have a great day on the island.
Thank you so much for squeezing me in today. I really appreciate it. Thank you.
No problem.